Well, we have a couple of bills that we're watching pretty closely, trying to, if you will, get amended. One of those is kind of a property rights issue. There's a lot of oil and gas exploration in southern, southeastern Illinois right now. And there's a couple bills that we have a lot of concern about. They have some taking provisions in there that could affect our landowners in terms of what a company could do if they get a certain percentage of the land under contract. It sort of allows them to go out and be able to take some property to do the utility project, the gas or oil project, whatever the case might be. And, you know, as an organization, property rights have always been our stalwart. We have always said, you know, property rights are king. We want the landowner to be able to protect their property. So we're watching that very closely. We're also monitoring a couple of bills with some animal welfare connotations. There's a ban on tail docking that we have some concerns about on cattle. As you know, that's a process from a health and hygiene standpoint that we do in the cattle industry, and it's something that we don't want to be banned from doing. We don't feel that it's cruel or unusual, if you will, to the animal. So we're doing that. And of course, the fiscal issues continue to be something that we are always trying to make sure, again, that, we want to be a player, we want to be at the table, we want to see Illinois' fiscal issues get resolved, we want to see a strong business climate, and we've been all about that for a number of years.
The Lieutenant Governor said in her remarks here that ag has been a bit of a beacon economically across the state. Is it time that the ag groups, the ag force kind of gets a little bit more recognized across the state and not having to take an inordinate amount of cuts or take too many hits from legislative means or from an EPA overreach or for cuts to the Department of Agriculture? Can there be some growing understanding here at the State House that there's a major contribution going on from agriculture?
I've said for a number of years, agriculture is our number one industry in this state, and it's an economic driver, especially right now. We have been the bright star, as you said, from not only a production standpoint, but from an export standpoint, from putting dollars, if you will, back into the economy as we buy machinery, as we put up grain bins, as we employ people across this state, as we have a food industry that continues to grow, and from the processing sector to the retail sector, agriculture plays such a critical role. For years I've always said we kind of get taken for granted, and I say that with all due respect, because part of why we're here today is to highlight agriculture's importance to the state, to kind of bring it, if you will, into the Capitol and make sure legislators have us on top of mind. So I think that this is a good day to do that. It's kind of a public relations thing. We probably spend more time focusing on the presence of agriculture than we do maybe on some of the issues that you and I were just talking about, because throughout the session we work those, and we have our people work those. So I think as you look to the fiscal situation, we recognize that that everybody has to do their fair share, and we certainly understand that. We just want to make sure that, again, agriculture isn't taken for granted and maybe cut more than its fair share or proportionately as you look across the state. But we recognize that the state, that our leaders at the Capitol have some very difficult decisions to deal with pension reform, to deal with unpaid bills, to get our fiscal house back in order. And we want to be a part of that. We want to look for solutions. We've had a focus on business climate for some time, and we'll continue to do that.
Nationally, a week ago, Farm Bill meeting in Galesburg in this state, really the only one that's going to be in the Midwest. Important for the state and for Illinois farmers and for Illinois Farm Bureau members to have their voice heard in front of members of that House Ag Committee, including the chairman.
Absolutely. We were thrilled that the chairman was here. The Chairman Lucas, who heads up the House Agriculture Committee, was here, and we're extremely pleased and proud to host that meeting. We had 10 folks testify for Illinois agriculture, not necessarily Illinois Farm Bureau, but I think it was a great opportunity for us to put our priorities out there of what Illinois agriculture would like to see in the 2012 Farm Bill. As you and I have talked before, our priorities have been a strong crop insurance program. We are willing to forego the direct payments, and we recognize the role that conservation plays. We want to make sure that program is not cut too far. The nutrition program is a large percentage of the Farm Bill budget. It's over 70% of that bill is nutrition and food assistance, and while we're all about having that program, we want to make sure that we eliminate fraud and duplication in that program. So we were able to convey those principles, I think, very well in that hearing. And as you indicated, it's the only one in the Midwest. So there were some folks from other states who came in from our Midwest neighbors and were able to, again, testify about what we as Midwest agriculture need. I think Chairman Lucas has done a fantastic job of saying, guys, we have to make sure we take into account all of the United States agriculture, because there is so much diversity across this country in agricultural production, in the types of producers and what their needs are to have the safety nets that are out there to protect us, because we have so many things we cannot control in our industry. And so it was a good opportunity, and we participated, and I'm hopeful. The Senate seems to be, and it's unusual, the Senate's ahead of the House in this regard. Usually a farm bill comes from the House and goes to the Senate. I actually think this time we're going to have the Senate lead this. They are leading it right now. They've concluded their hearings, and Senator Stabenow, who chairs the Senate Ag Committee, is marking up the bill right now. So I think we'll hopefully have something to work with. I think it's 50-50 whether we can get this thing done before August recess, but we're sure going to try.